Hi guys, this is Hero. How's everyone doing today? आज बात came to आज सब कैसे हो? So today I'm going over Mars' transit in the sign of Leo. Okay, this occurs from June 7th to July 28th of this year of 2025. Right, and there's a few variables that are important for this transit. One would be that Mars is conjunct with Ketu, and the second one would be the influence that Venus and Sun have with this Mars. Right, and the reason being is because Mars is in Leo. The sign ruler of Leo is Sun. That's in Taurus. And the sign ruler of Taurus is Venus, and that's in Aries. And Aries is ruled by Mars. So these three, Mars, Sun, and Venus, they're all kind of in each other's sign, right? They have this like little like interchanged like grip on each other and influence on each other that I'll explain in a second, right? Now, Mars here, Mars is what? It's a planet of aggression, right? Starting new things like that. Now, Mars is a very, it's a fire like planet, you can say, right? And because its main sign, Aries, is a fire sign, right? Now, so therefore, Leo, right? It's a fire sign, and its ruler sun, it's also like a very fiery planet, right? So just right off the bat, just in general, Mars in general in Leo is always going to do a little bit quite above average. Okay, now this does not mean above average in the whole general Jyotish system. I'm saying above average for Mars, okay? Moving forward. So Leo is what, right? I just said what Mars is, the aggression, starting new things like that. Leo is the sign that governs your sense of fulfillment, specifically fulfillment from the sense of your identity, okay? Now, you put Mars here in Leo, it's gonna do decently well for Mars, right? It's going to use its efforts and its ability to start new things to basically make you your sense of identity fulfilled, okay? Which is great. Now, Leo's ruler sun is in Taurus, right? So, and you could say sun is basically your identity or your sense of self. So your sense of self that Mars is trying to please here, right? Because Mars is in Sun's sign, your sense of self is in Taurus, right? So you're trying to find that fulfillment and all this kind of stuff through Taurus things, which could be like food, clothes, stuff like that, right? And now Venus, who's Taurus's ruler, is in Aries, right? And Aries is what? It's all about starting new things, new beginnings. So in regard to food, clothes, stuff like that, all the Taurus, Venus things, you're trying to start new things. Okay, so how does this circle-like effect influence Mars here, right? And this is where you really got to think. You can't just say, oh, Mars and Leo, Sun and Taurus, Venus and Aries means this exact thing is going to happen in general for everybody. That's not true, right? What's happening is you're basically inspired to start new things in regards to these Venetian stuff that could give you fulfillment. So the focus is on two things: something that's new to you and something that is going to also provide you fulfillment, right? These two things or anything in your life that checks off these two boxes are not going to be the same for every single person, right? So anybody that tells you, oh, this will happen in your life, they're completely full of shit, okay? Now, these two things, I will give you examples. I'm not just going to leave you with nothing, just as generic stuff. Let's just say, I don't know, summer's coming around and you're just not a very big barbecue person, okay? And now, all of a sudden, this transit, you could be more inspired to like, I don't know, just suddenly start barbecuing. If this is just something that you've just wanted to do and this kind of checks the box of the Venus-like stuff, and this somehow is giving you fulfillment, right? Like, you know, just cooking the food like over the fire and stuff like that, and really just cooking it yourself, right? You can kind of see how this plays out here, right? Or let's just say you're not a very big shopping person, right? You hate going to the mall, things like that. And now all of a sudden, and this is where you kind of have to look at everything else also, but somehow you just feel like, you know what, I just need to go shopping for new clothes this summer, or whatever the case is, right? This is kind of how it could play out, right? Or, you know, you could possibly go to a new restaurant, or you could go on like trips. Venus also governs the Taurus aspect of Venus governs like a trip like staying at like some hotel or like on the beach or in the mountains, especially since like Mars is involved, right? These kind of things, and I know this is very generic because summertime's around the corner, but this is where you kind of have to piece together all the little things, right? Yes, this relatively spiritually is going on. So, okay, yeah, it's June and July. How could this play out for the average general person, right? This is how you have to kind of make sense. But some of this is going to be personal to you. Like, for example, the barbecuing thing, right? That's just like a completely random example. But you can kind of see how that fits in here, right? But not everybody is going to have this, right? Some people could have absolutely no interest in barbecuing. Like, it never really crossed their mind that this is something that they want to do. Some people, they barbecue like very frequently, or so like this wouldn't be like a new thing for them, right? But and this is just a random example, but something in your life, I don't know what it is exactly for you. People say all kinds of things just because, it could fit, right? But that's not what I want to do here. I want you guys to figure out what these two things are for you in your life, right? And then figure out how this kind of thing could play out for you, right? So something like this is kind of what you're going to be inspired to do. And now, the Holy Grail, how does Ketu impact this Mars, right? So this is a direct conjunction, and as we know, Ketu doesn't own any signs. Okay, so what Ketu does is it just makes a planet extremely karmic, right? So what you will do is you will hyper focus on a few things. So let's just say in your life, the thing that you have an idea of certain things that check these two boxes, right? Something that would be new to you, but something that you haven't done and that you think will give you fulfillment and that you maybe want to try, something like that. And something that's also connected to Venetian things, right? These 2 points, I kind of separated them here, but the first two are basically 1 point, okay? These things, let's just say you have a list of 5 or 10 things, right? Ketu will get you to hyper focus on 1 or 2 of these things, right? It'll just be like, I need to do this like to the extreme or to the max, right? And that's kind of how it'll play out here. Okay, so, and then, as usual, you need to look at your dashas. If you're running a Ketu dasha, a Mars dasha, or even one of the other two, like Sun or Venus, the more these planets are involved in your dashas, the more they will impact you, right? If you're not running any of these, let's just say you're running like, I don't know, Rahu, Jupiter, what's the next? Mercury, Rahu, Jupiter, Mercury. Let's say, and none of these planets in your natal chart have anything to do with, have like no conjunction with any of these 4 planets that we're talking about in this video, then, okay, you're not really going to notice this that much, right? But, like I said, this is where you kind of have to combine the transit and the dashas and things like that and just see what's going to go on, okay? But, yeah, and then look at what dashas you have from the perspective of the planets. This is why whenever some transit happens, I always do it from the perspective of that planet. So here, I'm going to do it from the perspective of Mars, right? And so forth. So, yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to let me know. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you all very, very much for watching.